How we all going? Don't we love our state governments? You like this beautiful great big car park? It's just nice palm trees and cars parked here. And beautiful great big railway station. Look with a big warning on it. Oh, wait a minute. The windows are covered up. My God, look, the doors are covered up. Yes. Stuffing rail trail. The thieves, the dogs, the mongrels. New South Wales State Government doesn't want people to catch a train. So what do? They block up all the railway stations. Hey, that's what they do. Hey, sorry, stolen land. See? Sorry, stolen land. Belongs to the people of New South Wales. Actually, it was originally built by the Lismore Railway Company. They originally built it, and then the New South Wales government, when this railway line went from Lismore to Murwillumbah and then made its way back to Casino, then went north to Kyogle, north of the Macleay River at Grafton, this railway line here built itself. And now the government, and then what happened was, once they built the railway line to Kyogle, then they built it from Casino down to Grafton on the north side of the river. Yes, he's here. Mr. Dog's here. He's inspecting it. He's not very impressed. Look at the way he's walking. He's not very happy. Right, so what's happened is, it got all the way down there, down to Grafton, and when they finally got down to Grafton, New South Wales State Government back in the day turned around and said, oh my God, we don't even have a railway line up there. Nah, how bloody ridiculous. So what they did, they quickly built the railway line from Maitland, west of Newcastle, and they turned right and they went up there through Patterson, Dungog, Gloucester, Taree, Kempsey, Wauchope, which goes off to Port Macquarie. There's not even a railway line out to Port Macquarie. And all the way right up there to Maxwell, Coffs Harbour, then into Grafton. Well, once they got to Grafton, they had to get across the river to pick up the great supplies around here. Look at all the stuff here next to the train tracks. Look at all, right? All these big factories used to be here. So they built it, and then they turned around and they ran it for many years. Then along come the politicians and sacked the railway commissioner on Christmas Eve 1979, 1980 I think it was. And that's when I gave the job away back in 1983. So all these buildings here, built way back before New South Wales Government Railways even owned them. And now it's turned into a dumping ground. Because what they're doing now, they turned around and they said, right, they took away the Casino to Murwillumbah, right, overnight express, and the Murwillumbah day train. Now that train stopped every station, big stations, from Sydney to Broadmeadow. Then it went Maitland, Dungog, and then it worked its way all the way right up here. Every stop, even the little tiny stations out here. Then up here they had the 620 class diesel, the same as the train there at Byron Bay, and they used to run up and down here. There's 3 sets of them. 3 sets used to run 131 kilometres. And they kept a regular passenger service from Casino to Murwillumbah. Just before that happened, they had another bit of railway line, and they had it on from Murwillumbah to Condong Sugar Mill. That only lasted a few years, and then that closed down, but that was the old lighter gauge rail with a spike and timber sleepers. Anyway, so then what happened, they then turned around and I remember coming into this station many times as a kid, many a time. I've actually even driven a train into here. And Anyway, as I said, and so then what they did, the powers to be, the right wisdom of them, they decided to bring out the XPT. Now the Gold Coast Motor Rail Express used to have a dining car, first class carriages, second class carriages with compartments in it, and also sleeping berths, and also car carrying carriages. Yes, 2 carriages that can take on your cars on 2 decks. Look down on Neil Battersby's video, Neale Battersby, Battersby. I'll spell it again, Neale Battersby, Battersby, and he shows the train coming into here and going right out through there. Right, and that's the only really good footage there is. He's done the whole series. Anyway, so what's happened now is they brought out the XPT. Well, then they took away the 620 class diesels, DMU sets, and they just let it run the XPT. Now the XPT used to leave down there in the morning, get up here in the afternoon, and run up out there to Murwillumbah and come back in the afternoon, and that was it. So if Johnny Brown over here, he wanted to go to Murwillumbah for the day, he really didn't have a day over there. He only had about an hour. Now let's say he had to go over to Murwillumbah, be there by 8 o'clock in the morning. It wasn't happening. Because the DMU sets, the red ones, like the Byron Bay Railway, and 621, which is that one, and 601 and 701, running around Sydney as a tourist train, they used to run up and down. Or the 900 class deb sets. And people used to get a regular rail service every hour or every 2 hours. And they could go somewhere, they could do something. They go to, say, to Lismore to some little town out there in the middle of nowhere. They go to Byron Bay to Murwillumbah, stoke a siding, or go to Tumbarumba, whatever. Nope. So they're stuck in the XPT. Well, that signed the death warrant. And I keep telling the people, the XPT, I said it way back in 1980, is going to be the death of this railway line and a lot of other railway lines. Wherever the XPT went, the railway line died. And sure enough it did. So, what's happened now is that Gladys Berejiklian, former Premier, Liberal, so you the Liberal lovers, if you don't like what's happening to our railways, you ain't got yourself to blame. So what she did, she got the bright idea to all you city slickers that don't know nothing. Look, there's even the radio antennas there for the trains. Look at that, right. So they decided then to get the trains all off the train tracks in 2004. They all had to leave the vicinity. They had the it was a blue train, it was a touristy train, it was a dining car, the Northern Rivers, whatever it was. I'm not going to go on all those details. I'm not a train person. I do train tracks inspections. That's what I do. Train tracks and timber bridge inspections. Right? I'm not into trains. It's a totally different thing. It's like being a bloke that fixes the tar on the road and the bloke who drives the truck. 2 different people. Anyway. Oh, here he comes. Wonder where you went, son? You right? Did you find somebody? That's good. Yeah. Oh, is that who you're looking for? NRTV. Yeah, well, NRTV, look, he went that way. I seen him, mate. He's down there, Miss NRTV. Yeah, that's him. Yeah, that's a bloke. Northern Rivers Transport Vlog. Yeah, if Mr. Dog wants to get him, he wants to chew his leg off. Anyway, I bet he can get a big thumbs up there from NRTV when he hears that. Anyway, so what they then, Gladys then did, she said, oh, well, let Rail Trail take over it. Yeah, let's go give them $30 million each. Yeah, you heard it, $30 million each. Yep, Murwillumbah's now ripped up. All the railway line of Murwillumbah's getting ripped up all the way right back down to Crabs Creek. Crabbes Creek. And it's all getting ripped up. Majority of the line's already gone. And they're going to transform all the bridges and everything else. And then we got Byron Bay City Council. They're trying to look after their section of the train track. And they're doing, they've got the Byron Bay Railway running, which is a Byron Bay solar power train. Byron Bay Railway Company. And you're only allowed to go 1.5 kilometres. 1.5 kilometres out of a whole train track, 131 kilometres long. What an insult. Because somebody didn't want to let them go at the level crossing. And some people say it was the council. Some people say it was the owner of Byron Bay Railway. Somebody says it was the state government. So, yeah. So that's what's going on there. So then we just had the big splendour on the grass, which soon to be splendour in the mud, up there at Yilgum. Now Yilgum is still under Byron Bay City. Now that is 907.770 kilometres from Sydney, and Byron Bay is 863,500 from Sydney. So take 863,500 from 907,770, right? And that's the mileage. Now, the New South Wales State Government has got any brains, Liberal or Labor, do-gooders or arseholes, and if they want to stop another catastrophe of Yilgum in the mud, reopen the railway line out to Crabs Creek, past Yilgum, and right at the boundary line is a great big nursery. Now that nursery, I bet you they'd love to have the people come there, because people go there by car, they can't find the place. But the railway line pulls right up at their front door. So therefore then it's going to make money. And if it goes to Yilgum, you have people waiting 9 hours. You want me to say it again? 9 hours at Byron Bay Railway Station. Yes, Byron Bay Railway Station, Byron Bay, 9 hours for a bus to go to Yilgum, where they could have had a train. Governments, take them out the back and shoot the bastards. They wouldn't have a clue what they're doing. This is free speech. They need to be stood up against the wall and shot. All the former premiers, Barry Farrell, whole bloody lot of them. Get your fingers out of your asses, you bloody politicians. You're destroying a railway line that was built by our great-grandfathers. And it didn't even belong to the state government. It was self-funded. Railways built themselves. People paid for their produce to go on the train. It paid for the infrastructure. They paid for the ground off the farmers. They paid for everything themselves. They paid for the sleepers. They paid for the rails. It wasn't owned by the state government. It was built by the Northern Rivers Railway Company, whatever its name was. Exactly, I'm not sure. Right, that's irrespective. That's got nothing to do with it. The state government only bought it when they finally had enough brains how to build a bridge across the river down there at North Grafton to South Grafton. And that's how they did it. But what they first did, they bought the railway ferry up there from Lavender Bay to Hickson Road. Yes, right, it used to be a railway ferry. And they put that in and used it to go across between North and South Grafton across the river, until they finally built a bridge, which is still there today, which has got the upper deck is cars and the lower deck is train. Go and have a look at it on Google Earth. That's right. But now they've got all the money to build a great big new road bridge next door. They've got all the money to spend $5 billion. Yeah, worth $5 billion on one road bridge up there at Broadwater on a motorway. $5 billion. Man, you know what you could do with $5 billion on a railway track? Oh, mate, you could reopen up every single railway station. You could clean it all up. Get a bunch of those diesel sets that sit down there at Newcastle doing nothing. And give back the people on the Northern Rivers what they rightly deserve. Their right to have a rail service. Now, does this go on at Dubbo? No. Does this go on at Wagga? No. Does this go on at Albury? No. Does this go on at Strathfield? No. Does this go on at Hornsby? No. Would you like it if we closed down your railway station? Would you like it if someone went down there and blew up a bridge somewhere to stop the train going where you wanted to go? Well, how do you think these poor people here feel? They just went through a massive flood. All underwater. This here was underwater. But that's only once in 100 years. And what happened? The Prime Minister, Scott Morrison, come out of here and he hit up the back road like a sturdy little skunk. Skunky Morrison. ScoMo the skunk. Right. And of course, who was up here now? The Prime Minister now. Where's he now? We don't see him up here helping Lismore. He said he's going to do all these things. What are you doing? What are you doing? Come on, Mr. Prime Minister of Australia, what are you doing? New South Wales Liberal Premier, what are you doing? Oh, and you come up here and you talk your good Christianity and you've got your 7 kids or whatever you got, or your 10 kids or however many you've been breeding there with. Well, how about when those kids grow up, when they have their kids, and those kids come up here to live? And then you're going to say, oh, Jesus Christ, 20 years ago when I was the Premier, I could have reopened this rubber line because then my kids could get to school or my kids could have a job. But no, not this Premier, not any other Premier either. Not since the 1980s, when you sacked the Railway Commissioner, who ran everything. The Railway Commissioner made sure the railways paid their own money, and only the Railway Commissioner answered to the Parliament. And now, he was a railway man running a railway. And what do you got running a railway now? Bloody politicians. Can politicians run railways? No. Look at the disaster on the Metro rail. Look at the shit on that. Let's have a look at the crap on that. They're building it out there where it goes from out there near Schofields. They took it right up there to Eastwood. They took over the railway line that was a nice double-decker train that we fought for 30 years to get from Epping over there to Chatswood. And what do? They stick the bloody Metro driverless tram on it. You sit sideways. Bloody politicians. And then it goes down there to North Sydney. Billions of dollars going into Sydney Harbour. Comes up there right opposite Channel 7, Martin Place and Elizabeth Street. Go and have a look at it. Great heap of junk. Underground. All that money. Billions of dollars. How about a bit of money up here for the locals? Where does your milk and cheese come from, people? Where does all your fruit and vegetables come from? Where do all your tomatoes, your grapes, your lemons, your oranges, your bananas? They come from Murwillumbah and Lismore. They come from everywhere. You need a slap in the head. You need a kick up the arse. Wake up yourself. Tell your local politician. Get your finger out of your ass. We elect you to serve us. You don't serve yourself. You are elected as a politician to serve the people of a community. Where are you? You're sitting down there and you, the public, you're not doing nothing either. So when your prices of your oranges keep going up, and the prices of all your tomatoes keep going up because you don't have a railway to bring them down there to market, with the high prices of diesel and fuel for trucks now to lug it down a motorway for one reason, a $5 billion bridge at Broadwater. $5 billion. How many beds in hospitals could that build? How many new school classrooms could that build? Hey, think of it that way. Yeah. But closing down your railway infrastructure that takes all those heavy trucks off the roads? You're insane. And you, the general public, you let them get away with it. Now they're passing an amendment, they're going to rip up all the disused railway lines around New South Wales. Is there one more? No. Is it 2, 3, 4, 5? No. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10? No. 11, 12, 13, 14 of them? No. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. No! There's more than 19 disused railway lines around New South Wales because the New South Wales government has turned them into unusable. There's 25 of them. Yes, 25. Barraba, Tumbarumba, Gundagai, Bombala, Tokemwall, Hay. Look what's happened to all those towns. Rail trail comes in there and we're going to make a fortune. Rail trail. Rail fail. That's all it is. Rail fail. Look what it's done to this community. Look at it. It makes you sick. The people who used to come here once and get off here and go to Nimbin. They come off here and go down to Ballina. Or they go down to Lennox Head. They get off here by the hundreds. When they opened this place here, there were several thousand people here on the grand opening from Lismore to Byron Bay to Murwillumbah. Thousands of people, horses and wagons, all proud to have a railway. Wouldn't they be rolling over in their graves now? Wouldn't they be spewing up if they were alive? They'd be ripping their hair out. They'd be spewing, chucking up vomit because of the way what the state government's doing. And you're letting it happen. And you know what? I'm an old man. I'll be dead soon. I don't give a crap. Because you don't deserve a railway infrastructure. You should all pay the higher costs of trucks on the highways. More trucks on the highways, more chances of you getting hit by a semi coming the other way and killing you and your kids. How would you like that? That's a great idea. Let's rip up the railway line from Maitland all the way up to Brisbane. Let's rip up the railway line from Sydney to Melbourne. Let's rip up the railway line from Sydney to Broken Hill. No. Oh, no. Oh, well, excuse me. If it's good enough for the goose, it's good enough for the gander. Eh? You want a good ear flogging? I'll give you one. Get your finger out of your ass. Get on your local politician. Stop selling up the disused railway lines. You know what the disused? Because the government never completed the system. The system? What are you talking about? The original plans in 1886. Get your earbuds, clean out your ears, here it comes. Moree used to go to Inverell. Inverell was supposed to join up with Guyra. Guyra was supposed to join up to Dorrigo, now a disused railway line. So Moree to Inverell is now a disused railway line. Inverell to Guyra never got built. Guyra is now a disused railway line, right? And then Dorrigo is now full of scrappy old steam engine by a con man, and the local council can't get rid of him. And then when you get down the bottom of the hill, you got Glenray, which is on the main northern line from Coffs Harbour to Grafton, and you've got the Glenray Rail Society down there, which are now all got so old. Guess who joined up in their club membership? Rail Fail. Yes, rail trailers joined up with the Glenray Dorrigo Railway Club, and they never told them they belonged to Rail Trail. The dirty mongrel dogs. You know what they're doing now? Once they get the members, now they've got the members, they're going to turn the Glenray halfway up the hill to Tuana into a rail trail. Another railway line going to be gone. They offered me that railway line from Glenray to Dorrigo for $40,000. To me, personally, I could have bought it for $40,000 in 1995. But I didn't. I was 35 years old. I said, what am I going to do with it? And Dad said, well, I don't know what you can do with it there, son. You're a railway line inspector. You go ahead and do what you want to do with it. And then all of a sudden I changed my mind and I went into a different field. I should have bought it. Because then therefore then it could have been running a rail service between Glenray and Dorrigo. But the problem is it didn't connect it up to nothing, and there's not enough passing highway there to make it like here. Look at the cars going past here. Let's have a good look. Do I sound angry? No, I'm not angry. I'm furious that you are all sitting on your big fat asses and you're doing nothing about it. The Mayor of Byron Bay is going to give it to the end of the year, and he's going to let Rail Trail have its way. That's the story. That's the rumour. Tweed City Council said they'd never rip it up. What do? They take the $30 million bribe, and now they're ripping it all up. So what's Lismore going to do? Oh, yes, he had the floods up here. What's he said? Oh, I'll put my hand out there for $30 million. Lismore needs all the money it needs. Yeah, but sweetheart, listen here, Mr. Lord Mayor of Lismore. It's got to go on the train tracks, not on the roads, not on the streets. You got enough on your plate. Bugger off. Leave the railway line alone, you stupid idiot, Lord Mayor of Lismore. Same with bloody Northern Rivers City Council over there at Casino. Wake up, you stupid selves. Richmond City Council, Richmond Shire Council, whatever you call yourself. Right? Wake up yourselves, you stupid bastards. Oh, you want to hear another good one, people? You want to hear another good one? These idiots turned around and they said, oh, the floodwaters 2 years ago was being blocked by one railway bridge 5 kilometres out of Lismore to the west. So they instructed the railways to get hold of a railway construction company. They go and take the timbers off the top of the railway bridge that have been there for 150 years. How can a railway bridge obstruct the floodwater when it was above the height of the floodwater? It wasn't the railway line sleepers. It wasn't the rails. What was obstructing it was that the railway left and the railway had nobody out there to mow the lawn, mate. Yes, it was a grass in the gutter. Like that. Grass in the gutter. You know when you see a creek and the tall high grass? That's what was happening. The grass got so high it slowed the water down, but it didn't stop it. So guess who gave the bright idea? Who was the engineer that said go out there and rip out the railway bridge? The local bushfire brigade. Yes, the local bushfire brigade, the guy that cleans the trucks. He's not even a bloody engineer. He's not even a motor mechanic. He's a 20-year-old kid. A 20-year-old kid, and the Lismore City Council listened to him. He belonged to the volunteer bushfire brigade. Bloody idiots. That's what I mean, Lismore City Council. And they got the lease on the railway line, the bloody idiots. What are you doing with railway lines? You're a city council. You do shit. You do garbage bins. Clean the streets, fix the roads. You don't get paid by the local people to run a railway line. It's nothing to do with you. Leave it alone. Lismore City Council, you need to kick up the arse, mate. Yeah, the mayor and all the rest of you board of cronies. I know where you are. You're all a bunch of bloody rail trailers, and all you want to do is cash in there, so you lie down to where the railway line used to be in your little Velcro pants, and say, darling, isn't this sweet? Look, we've got a nice flat bit of ground, where the train used to run, and ride our little push bikes. But when your grandkids grow up, and they're driving a car one day with their kids in it, and because you took the railway line away, and a big semi-trailer kills them and the kids, the grandkids, well, you've only got yourself to blame, because you're the bastards that ripped up the railway lines. You're the ones that ripped up the railway. You're the one that ripped up this network that's already been here for over 140 years. So if your great-grandkids get killed because of what you do today, you've got to take responsibility for your own actions in 40 or 50 years' time. If you rip it up now, think about the future. Not about you running around wearing your little tight little black pants up and down to an ex-railway line, while on your brand new little push bike worth $900, which you probably dodged on your tax. Anyway, you make me sick. Anyway, councils, leave the railways alone. Bugger off. Oh, by the way, for all you councils, Tweed City Council, Byron Bay City Council, Lismore City Council, and Casino Council, whatever you want to call yourselves up there, Richmond Valley, whatever it is. Did you know the government, with a stroke of a pen, can just wipe you out and say, we are resuming the land? So all that hard work you're doing, all that wasted taxpayers' money that you're now spending, can just be wiped out. You don't believe me? Listen to your knuckle brains. Go watch the current affair. Look at the airport to St Mary's. Airport to St Mary's. People have had their farms there for 100 years. It's been on the books there since 1886. 1886. Not what Gladys Berejiklian told you she planned it. Bullshit. I'm the guy with the railway archives. I'm the guy with the original diagrams. I'm the guy who's got a copy of all the plans of the railway lines where they should go, which was Moree, Inverell, to Guyra, to Dorrigo, to Glenray, and then on up to Murwillumbah and up to Coolangatta to meet up with a former Queensland Rail being lead to Coolangatta, where McDonald's is at Coolangatta. Now, Queensland Rail is building right down to Coolangatta Airport, and Queensland Rail want to build it from Coolangatta Airport right down to Byron Bay. So, if they don't go down there through Murwillumbah, they're going to go straight down the side of the expressway, come in down there at Billy Nudgel, and then come down around there into Byron Bay. And then Byron Bay City Council, you won't be able to do jack shit, because Queensland Government, if it's Labor and New South Wales is Labor, they'll just sign the paperwork and give them the contract. The same as when they rip down the people's houses that they're doing now to build this bloody metro train from Sydney Airport to St Mary's. These people said, oh, we have a house here. My grandfather bought this over 90 years ago. Yeah, but sweetheart, it's been on the books down there since 1886. That's where it's going. Well, that's more than 140 years ago, isn't it? Ooh, about 140 years. Stick biggies. It's already been on the books. I know, tell me about it. My brother's house was going to get demolished because one Liberal federal wanted to change the route of the motorway around Sydney, and they had a fight, and because he had one swift wick of a pen, he said, oh no, let's change it. And the whole community in Western Sydney had to fight the federal government, and they won it, but they didn't get their money back. But they won it. They kept their homes up in Kurrajong and North Richmond and Castlereagh and St Mary's and Landilo. All those people, big class action. See, you don't always win. So, but the difference is the railway line's already been there. So you can't say it's not a established corridor. It's a corridor. It doesn't mean exactly what's in it. It's a corridor. A passageway is a passageway. So rail trail, you better go clean out your own personal passageway between your bum cheeks, because when the railways come back, they're going to come back with a vengeance. And they're just going to say, hey rail trail, get out of our bloody railway station, pack up your push bikes and piss off. Because that's what you need to be told. Same with the premiers, piss off. You don't got to build up the railway lines, piss off out of office and put somebody there who wants to build this state. Victoria has got rid of over 300 level crossings during the pandemic. Yes, Victorian Labor has got rid of over 300 level crossings around the whole state of Victoria. They've opened up 15 closed railway lines in Victoria, right up there to Mildura, everywhere, and they made it all standard gauge. Yes, Victoria is now standard gauge, not broad gauge and narrow. It is all standard gauge. See, you don't even know that. Takes Mr. Hominoid to tell you. Well, when I get through to you now, and your grandkids get up here, 50 years time driving down the road and they get killed by a truck, and there's rail trails everywhere, no more railway lines out here to Casino to Murwillumbah, or no more railway lines out to Barraba, no more railway lines up there to Tenterfield, like they closed it down from Armidale. And if you get rid of the railway lines out there from Orange, going out to wherever, Boggabri and Boggabilla, oh, you don't think they reopened them? Oh yes they did, wait a minute, mate, one little mistake. North Star, people, North Star, never heard of it. Nah, pack mate, nah, never heard of it. North Star up the far northwest. That was a closed down railway line up there at Moree. Guess what, suckers? It's now part of the Great Inland Railway. And they resumed it. And the farmers got upset. And you know what the government said to them? Stiff bickies. And they rebuilt the railway line right there through North Star. It had been closed for 50 years, 70 years. Right? And they reopened it. Now it's a high-tech, high-speed railway line. North Star, mate. 20 years ago, it was old railway sleepers and the old, like, 60-pound line. Now it's a big 2-track, bloody computer track, high bloody brand new ballast and everything. So don't think it can't happen, rail trail. Go look at North Star up there at Moree. You think you're sweet and pretty, rail trail. Rail fail, F-A-I-L, fail. So yeah. See you later, Mr. Hominoid. Have a later. See you later. I'm happy. I just hate rail fail. Give us back our railways. We earned it. What about the old people in the wheelchairs who can't get anywhere? How are they supposed to get on a bus in a wheelchair? Dickheads, wake up yourself. Go and ask your grandmother, Grandma, can you get on a bus with your wheelchair? These coaches that run between Casino to Murwillumbah and the Gold Coast and Ballina, they don't take wheelchairs, and not the local town ones. No, they're coaches. They're not wheelchair accessible. Duh. Go have a look at the brochure. It's on the State Rail website. Duh. Dumbheads. You don't do your homework. Remember when you went to school, people? Wake up. When you went to school, do your homework. See you later. I did.